So I drove the zinc yellow '02 Mustang GT around the neighborhood, ran some errands, and then my wife and I took the silver '04 Mustang GT to the temple to do some work in the temple and volunteer there. And then driving the yellow Mach 1, and I want to show you a spot up here which is kind of important to me. So on the outskirts of my neighborhood, there's, the new fire department and some other things out here. But this is all kind of an industrial area where people used to race and stuff. But this place right here used to be the Blue Bunny ice cream factory. And back in 2003, there was someone who worked here who had a brand new torch red '03 Terminator Cobra with chrome wheels. And it would park right there on the front row by that little house building there in the front, just right here in the front. I remember driving by and seeing it. And so I was totally in love with that car. It was my dream car. I loved seeing it. And I have a red 10th anniversary '03 Mustang Cobra. And I even changed the wheels out to the chrome ones off my '04 Cobra for a little while so that I could kind of remake that car. And I do have another set of chrome '04 Cobra wheels that I have acquired since then. So I can make my car look that way if I'd like to again. And that's always been the plan. But I've put the 10th anniversary wheels back on the car because it just kind of fits better on the car because I know that's what it is. And I've even had a set of the polished satin wheels is what they call them, the machined wheels that were offered on the '03 Cobra. So these are the non-chrome ones, but they're still shiny and nice. And they have little inserts that are painted the argent kind of gray bullet wheel color. If you look closely on like the outer wheel and on the rim of the wheel on the inside of the spokes. And so I like all these wheels. And the fun thing about cars is you can always change the wheels. So I had a meeting at the church. That's where I was going in the yellow Mach 1, parked next to a trailer because most trailers don't have doors. No doors to ding you with. And if they do have a little side door, it probably won't swing open enough to hit the car. Kind of like Jeeps. When you park next to a Jeep, the doors aren't really going to hit you. Jeep Wranglers, that is. But anyway, had the Mach 1 out. Loved the Mach 1. And speaking of Mach 1, my cousin has his red Mach 1. You may have seen the burnout he did. That's him with his friends up at the car dealership where he works and stuff. And, you know, he had that car down for 6 years without an engine, and they just put it back together. But they're the ones who put the engine in it, and they're encouraging him to have some fun with it. So I guess they're having their fun with it. But I've put some work into that car too, and that's okay. But here's the GT at work. I'm just enjoying driving it to work every day. And I made a video on Instagram that showed how I park here in this spot, and there's an end cap on the left there. That's not a parking spot, but people got so bent out of shape about how I park here. But you know what? It's really no big deal. Nobody cares. It just makes it so that people don't ding my doors, and so that I don't ding their doors, because I've opened my door and the wind's taken the door a little bit, and I'm just glad to have a little more room there. I've opened my door wide to carry boxes out and things that I need to bring home from work, and it's nice to have a little extra room. But look how beautiful it is out here. This is my favorite place to drive. There's the lake out there. If you've seen my other videos, I've driven around there recently, and what a beautiful place to drive and hang out. So I like coming out here on break and seeing the car. So back at the house with the red 10th anniversary Terminator, yellow Mach 1. Time to wash the GT. It's been doing a good job daily driving and getting rained on and stuff, and I washed both the GTs because they sit outside a lot, and you know, if a rainstorm comes by and takes them out, then got to wash them again. And I even shined the tires, and I went all out on them this time, and then it rained like that night. But the cars were nice for a little bit at least, and sometimes if it sprinkles, it doesn't really get them too dirty. But anyway, just hanging out in the garage, enjoying the nice afternoon, having some fun. And just, I love walking in here and seeing the different cars and seeing the shine on them. And, you know, the covers are keeping the dust off of them. That's very nice. But yeah, GT looking good, all shined up and cleaned. And man, this is a really nice car. I'm very happy to daily drive it. My wife is enjoying driving it too. It's automatic, so she likes the automatic, and so that works out. It's totally stock exhaust, totally quiet. It actually sounds pretty good for stock, but I've brought up the idea of putting an exhaust system on this GT, and she said, no, your other ones are all loud. She likes this one being toned down. Notice how I get out of the car here. I put my left arm down and kind of lean on the inner door frame area. I think that helps the bolster on the seat keep from shredding. And that's very common on these Mustangs to have the bolster wear. But anyway, looking good. Man, this GT's nice. I'm very happy with it. Was at my sister's house. There's her son's 98 GT and my zinc yellow one, and her other son just bought that '03 V6. But see how it's raining on us right after I washed the cars. I went to the store with the silver GT, and then back in the yellow Mach 1, went to the church again for a meeting. And I just love seeing this car here. It looked really good. There's some steps right here up to the church, and so you walk out and you see that beautiful zinc yellow with the black hood stripe and stuff. It looks really good on the car. And so it's always fun when you're like in a building and you walk out and you can see the car. So I just thought this was kind of cool. Loved seeing it out there. on the zinc yellow GT, I swapped out the idle air control and the mass airflow sensor and checked for vacuum leaks, made sure everything was tied up tightly. Everything seems fine, but it has this little stumble only when it's cold when you get started. It only does it for a little bit, and usually like when I leave and go, a couple blocks away, I start to go, and then it stumbles for a second, and then it picks up, and I can rev it, and it cleans it up fine. And I had changed ignition coils and everything, thinking it might have been a misfire or something, but the car used to have long tube headers on it, and it's probably still has that tune on it. So when I bought this car and it was just a shell, and I put it all back together and put a stock engine back in, and with everything, it had stock manifolds. So my friend, who's a tuner, said that it might be something with the warm-up on the O2 sensors. I think he was saying that when the car is cold and the O2 sensors aren't heated up yet, the car is still in open loop. And so when it's in open loop, it's like a warm-up. Only some of the sensors are giving data to the computer, but the computer runs off of what it has in the tune. And then when things warm up and it goes into closed loop, then it uses more of the sensors. I believe in this case, the O2 sensors and stuff. And so it can now use the data it's collecting. And in this case, my car is tuned for long tube headers, but it has the stock manifolds back. And so then when it warms up, then it drives normal because it's now configuring itself to what it needs and making those adjustments. And so the RPM would drop, and sometimes it would even stall. So I just adjusted the throttle stop so the blade stays open a little bit more, gives it a little extra RPM, and then it runs pretty good and it doesn't stall out or anything. And this is important because, as you can see, I changed a bunch of parts on the car hoping for something different, but all those parts were good. And there's a lot of people who are going to try to chase a problem or diagnose something when, if the problem's in the computer, you're never going to find it. And so it's good to know these kinds of things. And so I was just doing the quick fixes real quick, but anyway, it still runs good. So I took myself out to lunch. I usually don't go anywhere too fancy, but it was just kind of fun. And it's fun to have the GT out. It was raining a little bit. Actually, my wife's windshield wipers were in the trunk, and she was having an issue with the GT with no wipers, so I went to meet her, but then she figured it out. So next night at work, I had the GT out there, and it's just fun to drive it sometimes because I drive the silver one basically every day to work and stuff. But I'll touch a little bit on those windshield wiper things. The reason I take off the wiper blades is because I don't like that they sit in the desert sun and deteriorate all the time. And then you go to use them and they're ruined. And so I usually just take them off and put them in the trunk. And on my other Mustangs, I just leave them in the trunk anyway, because with little children, as my little boys were growing up, they would sit on my lap in the car, and sometimes they'd grab the turn signal lever and they'd twist the wipers on, and they would just wipe dry on the windshield. And I just didn't like that. And so I was like, I'm just going to put these in the trunk, and I put little black caps on them. And so If you've been watching the channel, you'll see I put out a video about this black Kenny Belt supercharged Mustang GT with a fully built engine. We found some issues with it. It's at my friend's shop, and my friend had asked me to come help work on it and do some of the timing and show him how to do a couple things on it and stuff. So I've been doing a lot of work on this car, and the owner is really neat. They've watched the channel, him and his wife both watched the channel, and they saw the car and stuff, and they're just fantastic people, and I really enjoy talking with them. So the next morning, I wanted to take the red Terminator out for a drive and just go enjoy driving around a little bit, and then I'm going to go back and work on that Kenny Bell car some more. So what a nice morning. It's just a fantastic time. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's a nice little peaceful summer breeze there, not too windy. I don't like driving the cars when it's super windy and it's blowing dirt all over the cars and stuff. And so we'll take the red Cobra out for a drive. First, we got to move the GT out of the way. I'll let you hear a cold start from the stock GT again, and then a cold start from the Cobra. Good time to note the difference. So time to take the cover off the Cobra before we go, and I do put these little stickers on the outside so I know which side's the dirty side. Man, I love this car. Such a beautiful color. Love the 10th anniversary badge. It's the same as a normal Cobra badge. It just says 10th anniversary across the face of it like that. Some people have made that badge and it says Terminator right there, like aftermarket one. I do have the carbon fiber vinyl inserts on the back bumper. Polished Borla exhaust. Very clean under here as well. I've detailed the underside of the car. And man, this is just a fantastic, beautiful car. This is my dream car. Well, I do have several Mustangs, and they are all important to me for their own reasons. The orange one, I could say, is my dream car as well. The Mach 1's my dream car. I guess they're all my dream cars, but definitely something special here. So let's have a cold start. Well, you can hear an airplane, but he'll be drowned out here quick. supercharger sounds good, and the exhaust sounds good too. Cobra looking really good this morning. It's hard to capture it on video sometimes. When you're standing there just looking at it in person, it looks so nice. So, parked away from everybody, had some breakfast, came back out, and just love walking out to this car. It's beautiful. This old Kmart's been here for a while. It's all boarded up, but it's a place I used to come when I was in middle school and look at the Hot Wheels cars and stuff. And, I bought my Game Boy here, a watch, nice things, and just kind of a fun time. But this parking lot's always a nice place to come and remember those times. It was always fun growing up and hanging out with friends. And I remember getting yo-yos here when that was a big thing, and the little finger bikes and the little finger skateboards and stuff. And so it's pretty sad to see the place just kind of empty, but they've said that they were going to tear the place down and build some apartments and stuff, and I don't know if that's still true or not. But anyway, it's fun to come here now years later with my new favorite toy, the Cobra. So, looking good in the shade here. Cobra looking fantastic. Love this car. So yeah, I just wanted to get out and enjoy it a little bit because I was going to go back and work on the car, and I've been pretty busy lately, and so been doing a lot of things. Dropped my friend's transmission the other day on his GT. I showed that on the channel earlier and stuff, and so it's always something, and so it's nice to get out and enjoy the cars on Saturday morning. Back at the shop, there's a yellow Z06, nice looking car. I looked at him at the stoplight to give him a thumbs up, but he didn't look over at me, so whatever. So back on the GT cool, here, cylinders look pretty good. The other side I took the head off as well after this, and I'll show some of that later. But took the yellow GT to the church again for a meeting, And then I actually put a whooping on this Subaru, this STI with my yellow Mach 1. And so that was pretty fun. I tried to wave and be cool, but I don't know if he saw me or if he was flipping me off or something. Who knows? Anyway, I went to a dentist appointment and I was surprised to see the silver GT next to me when I came out. My wife had her appointment right after me, and so I just wasn't thinking about it, and she parked next to me. Cool. That's my neighbor's old Roush 427R. Very nice car. A lot of miles. He drives it every day. It's cool. Guy pulls out in front of me by the in and out light, and then he decides he wants to go left. He's in a right lane only. Didn't want to wait in all the traffic or go around, so now he's gonna try to skip left in front of all these people. Holding me up. I'm ready to go. What a jerk. My wife's phone was all messed up. It wouldn't text, wouldn't call, wouldn't do things. So I took it to the Best Buy for her, parked over here, and they did a very good job at resetting it. They were very nice, you know, very, very good. But this area is kind of fun because it reminds me of when I lived over here. Jeez! So I was glad I had the GT on a day like this, so the Mach 1s and Cobras didn't have to be out in this, or the Bullitt. So my wife met up with us with the silver GT, and you can see it's raining, so now I'm really glad that we had the GTs out in this weather. So we went a few places together, and it was fun to have the two GTs together. Very similar cars, both with bullet wheels, both looking really good. It's just fun to cruise together and drive around town. She just had to be somewhere else, and so it made it so that we could take all the family and the two Mustangs and go around and go to different places. So we'll go do some shopping. So it's kind of fun to have some weather and some rain and stuff. And you know, you saw I just washed these cars, but it's okay. We'll wash them again. It doesn't really hurt anything, but it's fun to go and see the two cars together like that. They look really good. Love the bullet wheels. I think they look so good on the GT Mustangs. Every time either of these Mustangs start up, I'm very proud of myself because both these GTs had wire harnesses that were cut, and I had to solder a bunch of wires and fix a lot of stuff, and so it's rewarding. His and hers Mustang GTs cruising together. my friend was in high school, he bought a bowling ball at a thrift store, soaked it in ether, lit it on fire, and rolled it down this hill. I was not with him for that, just so you know. I think that like every time I come up here. My old house was right over there, and we're headed home. I thought this was a really cool shot of the GT going down the hill. It's a very beautiful area. It's fun to follow the car, kind of like a roller shot. Right at the bottom of this hill are some apartment complexes, and that's where my wife and I lived when we bought the blue Mach 1. And so every time I come around here, it just reminds me of that, you know, going to college and everything. And there's a lot of kids that live in the college dorms that it's kind of off-site college living area that's known for where everyone wants to live and stuff, and it's just right here. So those apartments straight ahead are the ones we used to live in. Pretty cool. So back at the shop, I got the other cam and head off, and it wasn't too bad, but still it's worth looking at, maybe going over. We're going to send it to the machine shop and have them polish it up. And the owner gave me the go-ahead to do whatever the car needs, and this is definitely the time to do it when this is all out. And this is all brand new, so it's kind of too bad it had to all come out again, but you know, journals didn't look too bad. Everything was in pretty good shape, and it's all new. One thing I did notice was number 1 cylinder was not firing. You can see how the rest of them have some color to them, and then that one has no color to it. So kind of interesting to see. When you look at the short block there, you can see the first piston's just brand new. So it's fun coming to my friend's shop and working on that Kenny Bell car together and stuff. And I just like that the yellow GT can come here because it can sit outside. It sits outside anyway, and my other cars can stay in the garage while I'm here. So it's just kind of fun. Plus, there's something about this GT being a car I put back together and stuff. I enjoy taking it where I go to work on other Mustangs that need help. And so I was waiting for my friend to show up, and I looked around the corner and I saw an E-body Barracuda, kind of like a Cuda and a Challenger, you know. And it was kind of fun to look over and see that car here because I love barn finds and stuff. So that was fun to look at that, and then hung out at the shop. And my friend's silver Trans Am's in here, and my other friend who owns the shop was telling me that this was parked somewhere for a year or two at another shop, and someone stole the center caps and the WS6 badge off of it while it was parked outside. It was supposed to be indoors, but it wasn't, so that's too bad. People ask me, how do you know which Mustang to take or which one to drive somewhere? And a lot of times I tell them, I wake up and I think about it for a second, and sometimes I feel like taking one over the others. And in this case, I really wanted to take the orange Cobra for a spin around town. And it's early right now. I like taking the car out for a drive when no one else is on the road. There's less people to bash into you. You know, just clear roads. Around here, there's a lot of traffic. This city was the largest growing city in the United States for a little while, and I just like going out when there's nobody out on the road. Now, there are people who might not be driving as aware as they should be when they're up early in the morning, so I know that's a possibility as well, but for the most part, there's like nobody around when I go out driving in the early morning, so I just wanted to take the orange Cobra out and do that. I love this car. You know, I was talking to my friend about it yesterday, and you know, I've owned it for 10 years now, and I just want to go make some more memories with it and enjoy it. It looks really good. I just love this car. Fantastic shape, 34,000 miles, competition orange. As far as the new Edge Mustangs were concerned, Comp Orange was only offered in '04. It was available on every trim level, but of the Cobras, of the coupes, there were only 281 of these built. 72 convertibles built in this color. and they did bring the color back for the Boss 302 in 2011 or 12, and again in 2015. Look at this beautiful golden morning sunrise. So nice on this car. I love it. Everything looks so good. All the controls in the background of the controls look all nice. This beautiful condition car. And just had to take it all in. And I went in the store and I got some Reese's peanut butter cups and I got some donuts for the kids and things. I saw a Performance Red 2000 Mustang V6. We'll see that car again here when we come out of the store. I noticed it was parked right here. See the Cobra in the back. That looks good. Here's this Performance Red V6 and I had to go do another lap around it and look at it for a second. The paint looked really good on it. Very bright, very good looking. You don't see very many New Edge Mustangs these days that are this nice. Interior had some stuff all in there, but overall, pretty good shape for what it is. So I can appreciate that car, and then I can also appreciate the orange Cobra, which is like the king of all the Mustangs of that generation. And so I had the V6 as well, so I'm very grateful for that car that I had. But man, coming out to this orange Cobra, it just doesn't get any better than this. One of the things my brother and I always thought that Saturday morning was good for was coming out and shining up your car and enjoying it in a nice day. So I'm going to clean up these tires. You can see how they're getting just from sitting. They do that. I don't know if it's the tire shine that's attracting them or the rubber, but it seems like all the tires I have on the extra wheels I have that sit do that. So I just want to come out here and use an old microfiber to shine the wheels up. And then I'll use another microfiber and some water to clean the wheel. I always do the tire shine first because if you get any on the wheel rim, then you can clean it off with the water. Whereas if you did the water first and then you did the tire shine, you might mess up what you just did on the wheels. So it came out very nicely, and I'm gonna roll the car back in a second and get the part that's closer to the street because it's hard to get it all when it's on the ground like this. It didn't seem like it was that bad on camera, but if you look closely, you'll see how dirty these tires are and how this shine really cleans them up. So there's all sorts of tire shines out there. I just try a variety of different ones. I don't have a favorite. I've had friends give me some different kinds, which was nice of them. I've seen these new dressings that are not oily, and you should be able to just wipe your hand across it and not have any residue left. And maybe I'll try something like that later on, but I just wanted to clean it up. But the chrome wheel and the shine on the tire looks really good together. A lot of these tire shines kind of dull out after a couple minutes, so I wasn't expecting it to be like super shiny or whatever. Some people don't like really slimy tires. My friend who was a detailer didn't really like that. He had some tire shine he used that just made it look clean and nice, and so, you know, I've done this for a while, but this is a good Saturday morning, something to get out here and hang out with the car and enjoy it, and, you know, enjoy the early hours of the morning. So see how dirty that front tire is, and this is how the back one looks. So looks better, looks like a new tire. So, you know, it really doesn't have a lot of miles on it anyway. So we'll get the front one cleaned up here. These front tires are actually kind of old. They have about 4,000 miles on them, so I haven't really gone that far on them, but they're always in the garage. There's no dry rotting or cracking, but, you know, I've had them for a long time, so they should probably need to be replaced sometime soon, but I should probably put them on one of my other cars and drive them. I'll show you. I'm going to do that here in a second with my other car, but see, I roll the car back a little bit, just get the bottom of the tire exposed upright so that I can get the shine on there, because it's not fun driving around and seeing like stripes on the wheels. You know, when you see other people driving around and you can see these dirt spots just, you know, skipping around, and so that's the way I like to do it. And I do it in the street as well, because the asphalt doesn't matter if you get tire shine on it, but on the driveway it kind of stains it. I'm definitely enjoying this morning. This is how my GT's wheels and tires feel watching me clean the Cobra wheels and tires. But remember, I did clean and shine these wheels and tires earlier on, and I'll do it again. But all that rain and everything got it filthy. Now, I really do like those car covers I have. They keep the dust off. They keep me from washing this car more frequently, and, you know, potentially putting more swirl marks in it. But it is nice to see the car with the cover off of it. It looks very good. And so that is the only downside to having the cover on it, is you don't get to see it as often like this. But you can always pull the cover up and look at it and enjoy it. And so I'll let the car cool down before I put the cover back on, so the heat of the engine coming out of the heat extractors on the hood don't blow up the cover like a bubble and trap the heat in there. So now I was talking about the tires on the Cobra, how they're getting older and don't have much use. Well, I have a lot of wheels and tires. Here's a Mach 1 wheel and tire, and I've got a bunch of them, and I wanted to swap some of them onto the GT because the GT has a tire in the back that's getting pretty ugly. But yeah, these Mach 1 wheels I've had for a little while. They were my red Mach 1. I have several of them. But I was looking at one of them here that I was going to swap on, and I noticed that it was from 2003. So that's the 22nd week of 2003. That's an original Goodyear Eagle tire that came on the Mach 1. So I'm not going to be driving on that one. So I was kind of going through and seeing which ones were better and stuff. But if you look at this tire, you can see on the inside it's chunking out and it's starting to split a little bit. And so I have so many wheels and tires that I thought I should probably just use them and rotate them out and stuff. So I wanted to do that today and be a little more safe. And so first of all, I had to clean the wheel and tire. And just like the Cobra wheels, you could see these tires had a lot of white, kind of rubber whiting or, dust accumulating on them. I don't know what it is exactly, but they needed some tire shine. So I wanted to clean up these wheels and tires before you put them on. It'd be easier to do it now than it is when it's on the car. Not that it's too hard to do it when it's on the car. It's just this is easier and it's already off and here it is. So I'll do that kind of like I did earlier with a tire shine rag and then a microfiber for the wheel itself. And so I just wanted to clean this up and then put these on. This GT is going to look like a Mach 1 in no time. I like the bullet wheels the best for the GT Mustangs. Those and the premium wheels that are like the 01 Cobra are my favorite wheels on the GT. So I don't really like the Mach 1 wheels on here just because every time I see it, it just looks like something it's not supposed to be, but they still look good on the car. It'll be funny when I have my yellow Mach 1 and this GT parked next to each other with the wheels looking the same wheels. There was a silver 2000 Mustang GT here in town with over 200,000 miles, and it had a set of Mach 1 wheels on it, and it was that way since 2006 when I first saw it. And it was actually similar to this GT. It had the whole front of it cut off and had a red engine bay, actually, just like this car. So very similar. Another GT in town that had the front end clip replaced and had Mach 1 wheels on it. How cool is that? Something cool about this GT is it actually now has Mach 1 springs in it. I swapped those over. And they drop it just a little bit, but there's still a lot of wheel gap. And most of my cars are lowered. And for this GT, I think it'd be good if it looked just like the Bullitt with deep dish rear bullet wheels that match and lowered. So that's kind of what I'd like to do with the car. But anyway, I went through and torqued down all the lug nuts. So what do you think? You like it with the Mach 1 wheels on it? They look good. I like the wheel a lot. So then I took the Cobra with my son and his friend to meet my wife in town for something. So it was hot, so I stopped for an icy. Cobra looking really good at the gas station. I park it at the pump if nobody's needing it. It's in the shade and less likely to get door dings. cold AC works great, and today is really hot. I usually don't like driving my supercharged cars in the heat, but I just stayed out of boost and it was a quick trip. So that's the update for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.